Welcome back to Brixton Buddhist Community's Buddha Day celebration. So if you haven't seen part one, check out our video on live stream earlier on today. So my name is Viryanaga and this is Maitranara. So we're both ordained members of the Threefold Buddhist Community and teachers at the Brixton Buddhist Centre. So yeah, very, very warm welcome back to you. I'm going to hand over to Maitranara who's going to let you know what we're doing this evening.
Welcome back this evening to the ritual, but there's going to be quite a warm-up for the ritual. So what we're going to have in a moment is, well, firstly, actually, I'm going to encourage you to do the shout-outs as well. So just tapping in, to letting us know that you're here, letting us know that you're with us. That's good. And then what we've got to follow is we've got the Sangha video. So Sangha means community, so the community of Brixton Buddhist Community. And what I was asking them to do is create videos about their lives in lockdown and how Buddhism is kind of affecting that and what's live in their practice, in their Buddhist practice at the moment. So we've got some really nice little videos from our friends in the community, and then after that we'll be hearing from Viryanaga, and he'll be talking about puja, talking about Buddhist ritual, how to kind of a little bit about how to engage in it and what to expect in the ritual tonight. And then after that we've got a really nice, really good talk from Amarapuspa. Amarapuspa is going to talk to us about her relationship to ritual and devotion, and that's going to set the tone for the puja to come, for the devotional practice to come. And then just before, in that introduction that Viryanaga is going to make about the ritual practice, he'll be explaining more about what's going to come in that ritual.
Great. Before we go over to the videos, I'll do the few shout outs. So we've got Lisa D from Camberwell, Alex Birmingham from Clapham, Charlotte again from Brixton, Joe, lots of love for the Rose, by the way, and Jill as well. So nice to see you all. I'll talk a bit more about the Rose later. Yeah, thanks for joining us all, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this session. Actually, really excited about it. Okay, Maitranara, take it away.
Okay, good. So the first video we've got tonight is from our very own Adam. Adam's here. He works absolutely tirelessly. In fact, probably the most tireless member of the team, way and above the teaching team. He's here on every stream, doing the tech for every stream, and so yeah. And Adam lives here in the community with myself, Viryanaga, and two other Buddhists. So we're gonna see a video from Adam and his a little bit of a tour of what community is for him.
Hello everybody, my name's Adam. I live in Dhammapada, the men's community in Streatham, and I'm putting together this short video to give you a brief insight into my life while we're locked down, and this is all for Buddha Day. So I begin here in our community lounge. So this is where we'll spend time, particularly on Wednesday mornings, which is our community morning, where we'll sometimes do some study and check in with each other, but we also use it for our film night. We've got a little small TV that we pull out from behind the sofa and put it away when we finish. So yeah, this is, if you can see, this is the lounge. Got a nice bookshelf over there full of lots of Dharma books. Maitranara often sits here with the shrine when he's doing some Zoom calls. So this is our kitchen. Got a lovely wooden table. Now Daisy May donated that to us, so thank you, Daisy. It really is a highlight of our community, where we all sit around and enjoy dinner together. And then over here, well, after Viryanaga's washing up, we've got a little whiteboard where we put what's on the shopping list and the little rota of who's in and who's going to cook tonight. So I'm cooking tonight, going to do some roast veg and rice. That should be very nice. Yeah, we've got a lovely, beautiful open plan kitchen. So this is a really nice place. It totally wasn't kind of a Buddhist place that I would expect to live in, but it was what was available, and it's just fantastic. So we've also got a garden over here, which Amarapuspa just kindly mowed for us the other day on the weekend. Let me take you on another tour. So we've got our office over here. So this will be where Viryanaga and others do his work. So let's have a quick look. There he is. Hello. He's working very hard for Brixton. We'll leave him to that. So let me take you on upstairs. So we've got 5 of us who live in the community here. Take you into our shrine room, which does not look like a shrine room at the moment because it looks like a studio, because tonight we've got Maichanara talking, and so yeah, we convert it into the studio. So there's the shrine over there, and that's where Maichanara sits, and then just over there in the corner, that's where I often sit doing the technician role. So it's very high tech. We've got pillowcases on the lights, so we clearly know what we're doing. Even using some plastic down here to cover the light. We love it. Viryanaga loves it. We both love it. Yeah, let me take you into my room. So during the lockdown, this is where I'm doing all my Zoom calls from. So this is my desk here. I've also got a yoga mat where I do some yoga, and then a little place where I do some of my reading and reflections. So yeah, last night Sunday was I had my Going for Refuge group. So we had Padmavajra, for those of you that know him, join our group, and we were discussing faith and Shraddha. So that was very inspiring for those of us in the group. We're a small group. There's just 3 of us at the moment. So yeah, I mean, back in the shrine, speaking about meditation, we meditate together as a community at 7:45 every morning for most of us, and for me that's really is a key part of my Buddhist practice, and it means so much to me to just to work on my mind really and have that as a daily practice. Really living in community, I've really honed certain habits I have to introduce good habits to work on my mind really. So it's been a delight living here in community and living with all the guys. I couldn't have asked for a better place to live in during this lockdown. So that's a brief insight into my life. I hope that's been useful or enjoyable to see what it's like here in the Dhammapada community. So thank you very much for listening and tuning in to me. Bye.
Yeah, great to hear from Adam. A little bit of an expose of community life, and a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of the community. So nice to show where we live and hear Adam talking about it. So that's good. Next up, what we've got is Alex B. He's put together a short kind of photo montage of his life, of his kind of Buddhist aspects of his life, which Viryanaga, who's a good close friend of Alex, is going to kind of commentate over a little bit.
So this is the 4 Buddha mandala. So I know that Alex is really enjoys this sort of iconography. So this is a picture of his shrine. It's got a bit of an outdoor space that he can spend time in during the lockdown. This is puja. For Alex, I know ritual is very important to him. So this is, I think, an example of him connecting with the puja. And here's an image of his shrine. Lovely little Buddha he's got. I think it's quite neat and tidy. As a graphic designer, I can see he's got an ascetic eye. He says this is where he does his study group. So this is where he gets his Dharma input. I love the little ad hoc desk resting on the top of the laundry basket. I think maybe we can all relate. And this is the Dhammapada, which is what we're studying in Dharma study at the moment. So we have a weekly, Alex, part of my weekly study group. So that's it. There's 6 videos from Alex. Nice to see that.
Good. Thanks for sending those in, Alex. So what we'll move into now is Lisa. Lisa is she's working on the front line in social care, and she's got a very full life, and she's here out in her garden talking about her Buddhist practice.
Hello, I'm Lisa. It's really lovely to speak with you today on Buddha Day. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about is around my Buddhist practice and being a parent, since both are really important areas of my life. So I have a 9-year-old son called Theo, and as you can see, we've been celebrating Buddha Day in our garden. The Buddha statue is one that Theo gave me for my birthday last year, and I don't know how clearly it comes up, but we also made some Bodhi leaf bunting. You might be able to see at the back. The Bodhi leaf, of course, symbolising the tree under which the Buddha sat to gain enlightenment. So I really see parenting as part of my practice. I think it's such a rich working ground for me to improve my ethical practice. There's always infinite opportunities as a parent that I see for me to be more kind or to communicate more skillfully, and particularly to be more patient. And I notice too that the more I am able to practice, the more I act like the kind of parent I want to be, which is hugely important to me. And I think this has been particularly striking during this recent period of lockdown. I've been coming back from work really tired some days, and I've just been more reactive than usual. So in those critical situations where something happens to trigger me, I've just been noticing those habitual patterns kicking in a bit more, and I've responded to things with irritation. And not only has that escalated things at the time, but I've also really looked back afterwards and thought, I wish I hadn't said that. It wasn't a kind thing to say. And what I've noticed is when I've then been able to practice for longer periods at home, that's just made a huge difference. It's almost like, when that critical situation arises, I'm better able to see around it a bit, to see that sort of like gap in between, like something triggering me and then how I'm reacting to it, and then it sort of comes up as a choice point then, in which I can, choose to respond in a different way, a way which is more in line with my values. It enables me to, communicate a bit more meaningfully, and then, not feed into the reactivity of the situation. And another thing I've noticed again during this period of lockdown, which has been a useful reminder, has been how much more I appreciate the time I have with Theo when I'm bringing mindfulness to the situation. So one of the pleasures we've discovered is going on like walks around our neighbourhood. We normally just go in whatever direction the mood takes us, and it's meant that we've discovered loads about a local area that we didn't know before. And we really try and be mindful throughout that, and really focus on each element of our experience, and then share with each other the things that we find that we're noticing. So for me, it's usually things like trees and flowers, so I tend to find those beautiful. And for Theo, it tends to be like cars he's noticed, because that's what excites him. But we've both shared how much we've enjoyed these experiences, how we've valued spending time together in that way, and it's something that we hope to continue doing. We plan on continue doing even after the lockdown is finally over. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today, and wish you all a really happy Buddha Day, and I hope to see you all at the centre soon.
Really great to hear from Lisa. I think Lisa's doing really well. I think I've seen a lot of Lisa, more than I would see normally, because where there's a daily community, Brixton Community call, a Zoom call, and really seeing Lisa flourish, wonderful, and in such a full life, particularly responding to the retreat that she did recently with Ajahn in Tiratnaloka. and bringing back, well, she did it virtually, and then really bringing the energy from that back into her life. So really good to see you there, Lisa. So next up we have my good friend Jack. Jack's in Wales. Jack's a member of my study group that I run alongside Cyber Sealer, and Jack's very enthusiastic member of the Monday night team, usually. So maybe a lot of you might know him from Efraspace. Very friendly, welcoming, present at Efraspace. So really looking forward to hearing what Jack has to say.
Happy Buddha Day to anyone celebrating in Brixton, Sangha and beyond. I hope you're all well. My name's Jack, for anyone who doesn't know, and I'm recording this in South Wales, where I'm locked down with my parents. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about what Buddhism's doing in my life at the moment. And the first thing I want to mention is this. So this is the Dhammapada. This copy was lent to me by my good friend Maitranara. Unfortunately, haven't been able to give it back, but don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I'm diligently reading it every morning before I meditate. So I like to kind of focus on a passage and memorize a little bit more every day, because I find the process of memorizing something forces you to kind of reflect a bit more on the logic of it and the meaning. And the passage I've been looking at is called the mind, or chitta, and it basically kind of emphasizes how the mind is more important in dictating our experience than our external circumstances. And that's a pretty radical thing to say, particularly in the modern world, because obviously we're all chasing certain external circumstances. That's the way everything is set up, you know. We're chasing that next promotion, or we're chasing, you know, like the mortgage, or the, you know, the person, whoever it is. But I guess what this crisis is kind of forcing me to do is to, you know, really feel the reality of that you can't control your external circumstances. I mean, even at the best of times, it's a bit futile, but I mean, now, like, no chance. So, yeah, I guess I'm just taking this a bit more seriously at the moment, you know, and I'm spending more time meditating and kind of reflecting and writing down how I'm reacting to things, and it's very fruitful for my happiness, because I think I'm coming just a bit closer to really experiencing that truth, you know, that mind is everything. Everything that happens, we see through the lens of our mind. And that's what we need to be focusing on, you know. And sometimes it does take, unfortunately, a crisis like this, something to shake us up, so that we can really see the reality that we're in. And it's liberating, actually. It's uncomfortable to first come to terms with, because we want to feel like the things that we're striving for, that we're grasping hold of, that we can make them permanent and make and fix our lives, you know. But letting go of that provides its own kind of joy that's actually a lot more expansive, and it's got a lot more possibility. You know, it's a more open way to experience life. And when we let go of our ideas of fixing things to make us happy, and let go of even the notion that we know what will make us happy, I personally have definitely found that I can be surprised by happiness. Anyway, those are my reflections. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And yeah, once again, happy Buddha Day. Happy to be with you all, even if not in person.
Wow. Go on, Jack. It's so, God, Jack, exposing the nature of mind. It's wonderful, wonderful. When Jack's in the mood in the study group, you know, we get that, and you know, it's this wonderful reflective quality on his experience. Really, yeah, really exciting in a way to see. And you keep hold of that Dhammapada, Jack. That's fine. You keep hold of that. In fact, it's yours. You have it. You keep it. That's yours.
You said it there now. So it's true.
Okay, so the final video we're going to see is from our really good friend Andy. He lives in the community here with us. He's just upstairs at the moment, and he's going to be joining us for the puja shortly. And Andy's going to talk a little bit about his experience, recent experience. So let's have a listen to what Andy has to say.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy, and I'm recording this from Dhammapada, the community up in Streatham Hill. And yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about my practice and living in community in relation to the counselling training that I'm doing at the moment. And I started in September of last year and felt about as prepared as I possibly could be, because over that summer I had conditions lined up just right, and I was able to enjoy just a remarkably rich period of meditation, perhaps the richest of my entire spiritual life. I came away from that period with complete unshakable faith that there's nothing in my internal felt experience that needs to be feared, and it's difficult to overstate the significance of that in terms of making progress in meditation, and especially when you consider it in the context of me living, most of my life up to that point in such a suffocatingly narrow sense of self and sense of identity, and because of my practice, because of those experiences, I was able to stop clinging to that. I was able to stop clinging to that illusion and to let go into something much bigger, much more alive, much more human. And because of that, I've been able to completely throw myself into the counselling course. I've been able to open up to depths of emotion, including pain and grief, that I just simply wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And I've been able to do that without fear as well. So much so that a few months ago, when I was just incredibly busy and feeling incredibly overstretched, feeling very thin, I guess like I'd reached some kind of indefinable limit, and I felt like I needed to collapse and to crumble. I had complete confidence that I could allow myself to do that, and that something would emerge on the other side. And that's where community comes in. This is where community comes in, or living in community comes in. Because while I had faith that I could do that, what I didn't know was whether I could do that within this environment or within this context. Because community demands a lot of you, demands a lot of me, demands that I bring in and contribute more of myself than I think I'm capable of sometimes. So it was a huge thing for me to ask this. And yet when I did work up the courage to ask and say, this is what I need, the answer that came back was a resounding yes. And it was a simple yes, as though I wasn't really asking for anything at all. It was a yes that I think spoke of the kindness and compassion that comes from dedicating your life to the path and the teachings of the Buddha. Happy Buddha Day.
Great to hear from Andy and hear about his life and trials and tribulations, but how he's meeting those, coming through that. We had Andy's birthday recently in community, and on those occasions, the birthday occasions, we do rejoicings, which basically just talking about people's good qualities, and it's just so much to rejoice in Andy. So really, there's so much to say, lovely to hear from Andy. Thanks for doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to hand back over to Viryanaga now.
Thanks much, Nara. Yeah, and thank you all for your videos. I've really enjoyed looking at them and watching them today. Really good to get a sense of what people are up to and what they're doing. Yeah, so I really appreciated those. So we'll just do a few more welcomes and shouts to people in the chat room. So we've got Pam. Warm welcome to Pam. Lovely to see you. Daisy, Vajratara, Ian, and Lisa D as well. She's here as well. So yeah, great to have you all online. Great to have you here. I'll say a bit more about that in a minute. But a real sense of community practice today. On the first sort of part of this live stream, first part of today, I spoke about hoping we could recreate something of the Sangha Day of last year, where we all got together in really big numbers and felt like a really celebrated as a community. So I do feel like we have managed to do that today in a way. I can't quite see as many of you, but I know you're out there and I know you're practicing, and seeing the videos has really helped with that. And I also just wanted to give you I spoke about being part of community is also contributing to community. So I know many of you volunteer, but I also did a Dana appeal earlier, an appeal for Dana. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. So I'll just bring up the little Danometer. So yeah, we've had some generous donations today. It's right here. I just wanted to personally thank Daisy, May, and Emma for starting new standing orders. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And also to Lisa as well for giving a significant one-off donation. So thank you very much to you three for giving today, deciding to give today. If you can contribute a standing order or a single gift, please do think about that. So you'll find a link in the description to the donate page. You can just give online. Great. So what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to introduce the puja and I'm going to introduce Amarapuspa, but partly just to segue into the ritual kind of part of the stream. I wondered if we could just do a very short breathing space meditation together, just to sort of change the energy slightly. So I'm just going to lead us in that, just going to be a minute or so, nothing much. But if you just get yourself comfortable, settle yourself down in your chair or on your cushions, and maybe just start by just feeling the weight of your body sitting, just sitting on the ground, sitting on the chair, wherever you are. So just particularly tuning into those sensations. And we're just trying to get a whole sense of our body sensations, our emotional kind of state, our emotional weather, checking in with ourselves. And then you can just turn your attention to your breath. You can just follow the breath as it enters and leaves your body. You don't need to do anything with the breath, you can just let it happen. Your body knows how to breathe. And then from the breath you can just broaden your awareness right out to encompass everything that you can hear, any sense of the environment that you're in, an awareness of other people in the room with you. Opening ourselves right up, really receptive and open to all the stimulus just going on out there. So I just wanted to insert that little bit of punctuation just to change the mood slightly, because we're entering a more devotional part of the evening, and it's been really lovely. It's been really lovely getting this sense of collective practice, as I said, and a sense of us all getting on with what we're doing in different parts of the world and in different ways, and seeing people's shrines and so on, seeing people's houses. And so we can continue this in the puja. But by turning our energy collectively towards the Buddha and paying respect and reverence to the Buddha. So I'll just talk us through exactly how we're going to do that. We're only going to do a short ritual this evening, but I'll talk us through that in a minute. But I just want to say a little bit about the robes that we're wearing, in a way. So Bhante once said that, so Bhante Sangha, our teacher, once said that one should sort of dress up for a puja. So it's like as if you were going to meet an important person. You would dress up, wouldn't you? You'd get your best suit on, get your best tie on. You'd sort of, you'd take a shower, you'd get your hair done. So what we're doing in the puja is we're going to meet the Buddha. We're going to sort of meet the Buddha. So for Maitranara and I, as ordained Buddhists, the kind of spirit of that most strongly evokes is our going for refuge, our turning towards the Buddha. And for me, anyway, I can't speak for him, but I imagine it's the same. That the strongest time we had that was on our ordination course when we were wearing these robes. So these are our ordination robes. Although we were ordained in different years, we both had a similar experience. And it just, whenever I put my robes on, I only put them on rarely for rituals, for festivals, for rituals, and when I visited India, they do take me back to that time of inspiration where I particularly was, really, we're going for refuge to a significant degree. So yeah, really helpful to prepare ourselves for ritual in this way. So you don't need to have robes, of course. You can just put on something a bit colourful or put something nice on your shrine. But the sentiment is to kind of make a bit of effort towards it. Make a bit of a fuss over it in a way. So that's what we're doing today. That's what we're doing here. So the invitation is for you to participate in that in whatever way that you'd like to. And how we're going to do that is we're going to do a threefold puja tonight. So it's a 3-verse ritual, very short, and the puja or the ritual is in English, so very easy to follow along. We'll do it in call and response. So I will lead the puja, and the guys here in the community will repeat that back, and you can just join in with them. And just for those of you that know, in between each of the verses we'll have sort of a few extra bits. So we'll have the refuges and precepts in call and response, and that's done in Pali, so we can join in with all the other Buddhist communities around the world. So this is the precepts of behaviour that we're taking. And then between the second and third verse, Maitranara is going to read a really lovely reading, Pingia's Praises of the Beyond, which is praises of the Buddha. So it really brings to mind his qualities. So Ratnachuda mentioned that last week in his talk, and also Amarapuspa mentions that a bit in her talk as well. So I wanted to bring that in. And then what we'll do is we'll have a mantra at the end. After the last verse, Adam is going to start a Shakyamuni Mantra. And during this mantra, if you want to pay respect to your shrine that you've got at home, or a flower or a tree or whatever it is, then if you can make an offering. If you can offer a candle, you can offer a flower, a daisy picked from the garden, a pine cone, whatever it is, you can offer something of significance to the shrine. And what I'm going to suggest is that many of you have probably done lots of pujas before, but there's a really lovely moment at the end of a ritual where the mantra dies down and it can be really still, and it's almost as though the room can slightly vibrate in a way. So watch out for that. So I just encourage you at the end, when the mantra dies down, just to sit in silence and stillness with us all. We'll all be doing this, sitting collectively in silence and just allowing, or whatever we've built up, between us, to just wash over you in a way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that run a little bit at the end. So there'll be a period of silence, and then I'm going to ring 3 bells, and that'll be the end of the ritual. And we're just going to, in this evening, just end the live stream at that point. And if you want to sit on in front of your shrine or wherever you are, you're very welcome. And we'll just get this sense of a sort of indefinite, ongoing kind of puja going on virtually. Anyway, so I hope that sounds okay. I hope you're up for that. And of course, if you haven't done a puja before, you're very welcome to just watch or join in with however much or as little as you want to. So I'm going to just introduce Amarapuspa's talk now, and then we will, while she's talking for about 15 minutes, quite a short talk, very, very good talk, and we'll just, during the course of that, we'll just rearrange and then we'll get started with the puja after that. So this talk from Amarapuspa, I'll just introduce Amarapuspa personally, as it were. So Amarapuspa discovered the Dharma in Brixton. I discovered yesterday. I didn't actually know this about her, but she just discovered the Dharma in Brixton and really engaged and connected with it, and has been a stalwart of the Brixton community and the Croydon Buddhist Centre actually for a long, long time. So she's our women's Mitra convener. So she looks out for the welfare of lots of people, but particularly the women in our community. So a lot of you will know her. She's a really excellent teacher and a very good friend as well. So I won't tell you what she talks about, but I'll just say that I really appreciated it. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Amarapuspa at this point.
Happy Buddha Day to old, new, and future friends in Brixton Triratna. The Buddha was born as we are born. What the Buddha overcame, we too can overcome. These are words from the Threefold Puja that we will be taking part in together later tonight. They describe the Buddha as the great exemplar of our full human potential and the root of our deep inspiration as Buddhists. A puja is an opportunity to express gratitude, devotion, and reverence to the Buddha, our ideals, and the Buddha's teachings. And tonight I will be exploring how this expression is, firstly, at the core of being a Buddhist. Secondly, my personal relationship to faith and devotion. And lastly, reflections I've had around how to stay more engaged with collective ritual and devotion. In thinking back to the Buddha's enlightenment, which we are doing quite consciously today, we can find that the expression of gratitude and reverence were some of the first responses the Buddha had after his achievement of enlightenment. I find this quite extraordinary that one of the first things he did after gaining enlightenment was standing for days gazing at the tree that had protected him with a heart full of gratitude. He saw his first response was, one of his first responses was to pay gratitude. And he also reflected that even though he was enlightened, he still had a need to look up to and reverence something higher than himself. Indeed, he described it as an essential human need, and that it would be painful not to have something like that in his life. So he decided that for the rest of his life, he would revere and look up to what's known as the Dharma, or the truth, the reality, the truth and reality that he accessed when he became enlightened. And these reflections of the Buddha are set out in a set of teachings called the Garvie Sutra. And Garva, I think, has a beautiful translation. Garva means admiration, wonder, and respect. So these qualities were seen as very, very important to the Buddha. Our teacher is Sangha, who is the founder of the Triratna Buddhist order and tradition, observed that it was of particular importance for Westerners to express gratitude, wonder and reverence through ritual and devotion. When he returned to the West after living in India for over 15 years, he was struck by how difficult it was for Westerners to look up to something higher than themselves. He found a culture steeped in egalitarian views that obviously had their very positive aspects. But from that perspective, there was a suspicion of holding anything higher, of looking up to something. Culture was also steeped in the rational, material, and scientific. And so it viewed ritual and devotion with suspicion as something naive and childish. And instead, he found there was a type of idolatry for celebrities, sports figures, and politicians. And he also found a culture much more interested in the individual rather than the collective. And this was in stark contrast to the Indian culture he'd been living in for so many years, which was steeped in a culture of ritual and devotion and stressed community and family over the individual. However, this was more than a cultural contrast. He recognized that expressing gratitude, reverence, respect, and devotion was a core human need, and certainly at the core of being a Buddhist. And he particularly wanted to bring this to Western Buddhists. He commented that to live without looking up to anyone represents an impoverishment of one's emotional life, and indeed an impairment of one's very humanity. So I find those very strong words, impoverishment and impairment, and they really, really speak to me. He also said that the capacity to look up to something higher than oneself is inherent in human nature and reaches across all religions. I have found a tension in my own personal life between feeling that natural pull towards devotion, towards ritual, looking up to something, holding something sacred, and my family and cultural conditioning that has viewed this with suspicion, that has seen this as naive and childish. I was a naturally devout young Catholic girl and attended church regularly from the age of 5. I recalled a sense of wonder and devotion inspired by looking up at the white dove of the Holy Spirit against a blue background ceiling, the golds of the altar, miracles, and also values that were put across about what was good and what was bad. However, as I grew older, I naturally wanted to emulate the adults around me, and they clearly thought Catholic devotion, ritual was naive and foolish. And this led to a great disillusionment. It was a bit like finding out that Santa Claus didn't exist. However, I was still required to attend religious instruction and go to Mass. And those rituals became so meaningless and boring. I recited words mechanically without any emotional engagement. And this was such a deadening experience. I left religion altogether and turned to political idealism instead. However, as a young adult, I found I was missing holding something sacred in my life, missing looking up to something non-material. I started seeking a spiritual path that had meaning, that could possibly add some meaning into my life. And this search lasted many years. And through this search, I learned to meditate. And eventually, I found that before I meditated, I would need to perform some kind of ritual. And I developed my own rituals. And part of that was a gratitude ritual when I would reflect on all the blessings I had in my life. And I would find myself just doing this gesture. And I don't think I'd ever seen that anywhere before. But when I finally did become a Buddhist, I was just floored seeing people making this gesture in puja and in other contexts. And when I found Buddhism through contact with Brixton, through Triratna, Buddhist tradition in South London, I soon realized I had found everything I'd been looking for so long, everything and much more. Like many, I felt I had come home to my deep spiritual ideals, to what I held sacred. However, I was still wary of collective ritual. It helped that people I looked up to, that I met through Triratna, clearly found that ritual was important and that they benefited from it. I was also quite wary of bowing down publicly. It felt like demeaning myself. However, the first time I finally took the risk and did it, it felt like a huge relief, like something I held back was released or unleashed. I have now engaged in many years of Buddhist ritual, and I have found it mainly a joyful, meaningful, and even insightful experience. There's such a joy in practicing together with people who share my ideals, as well as all the collective energy and mystery of ritual. However, I still find I am not completely integrated around this. There is still an undertow or resistance to ritual at times, rooted in my old conditioning. I can find that other people's energy and something mysterious that comes in can help break through this resistance. However, I haven't wanted to passively rely on something to come in to inspire me. Over the years, I've found that I've needed to make my own kind of effort, that this is a two-way street. And so I've started reflecting on what I needed to do to engage more when that resistance came up. So first of all, I have needed to recognize a type of complacency that had taken root or can take root in myself if I'm not vigilant. I have been immersed in a spiritual community or Sangha and practice for many years, and I can delude myself that the progress I have made is entirely of my own making. I can lose sight of how lost I was before I became a Buddhist and came across the Buddhist teaching. And I can lose sight of the debt I owe to the Buddha and other teachers and friends who supported me along the way. So I see I need to make an active effort to recollect this. And this is a type of mindfulness. So one definition of mindfulness is a recollection. So recalling ourselves to something that's very significant. And I make a practice of doing this as much as I can when I start noticing myself getting complacent. And this is an active recognition of benefits received, which is the definition of the Buddhist word for gratitude, katanyata. Again, it's taking an action, and it's also using reflection and recollecting. I also work with my individual preferences. I can be quite picky about words. I can switch off if they aren't words I would have individually chosen. So I work to actively connect with the collective mood beyond the words. And I also recognize that I can get mechanical and perform puja by rote, even when reciting the words, the precious words of the refuges and precepts, which are at the core of being a Buddhist, that go back to the Buddha's time and are recited by Buddhists around the world. Again, I recollect what meaning they have brought into my life. Perhaps even most significantly, the ethical precepts, which speak most to values I hold to be precious. I also use beauty to inspire reverence and devotion as well. So I find devotional words that inspire me and evoke an inspired mood. And for me, the words of Pingya, a follower of the Buddha, in his praises, deeply evoke that kind of beauty and mystery. I particularly go back to one of his short poetic sentences about having met the Buddha. And the sentence is, like a swan, I have reached a great lake. Like a swan, I have reached a great lake. And this really, I guess, lifts me into a much more devotional mood. I also take in the beauty of a shrine. I try to beautify my own shrine. I lately, this week, I've been inspired to pick up rowan blossoms that were blown down by the wind. And I just hold up this beautiful rowan blossom that now adorns my shrine. And I also have behind me this very beautiful 19th century Tibetan image or painting. I guess it's a type of tanka hanging that a very dear friend gave to me when I was ordained. And I have that hanging above my shrine. And the beauty of it, the golds and the reds, connect me with the qualities of love and compassion that the red Buddha particularly speaks to. And finally, I make an effort to open to the mystery and wonder of the Dharma that the Buddha taught, that the Buddha came into contact with when he gained enlightenment. So to open up to something much greater than myself, to the mystery of the Buddha, who broke through time and space as we know it, and who is accessible to us and with us if we choose to turn our hearts towards him. So going back to Pingya, Pingya was elderly and he wasn't able to be, lived many miles away from the Buddha, but he had met the Buddha and was deeply inspired by that one meeting. And he said that with clear and constant vigilance, he felt continually in the presence of the Buddha. And to me, Pingya is such an exemplar of how I would like to practice my devotion to the Buddha. It just takes a turning towards a recollection of vigilance to bring the Buddha to mind. And I always feel met when I make that effort. It's just making a choice, I find. But I slip off it, but I keep coming back to it. The Buddha made an extraordinary declaration after he gained enlightenment and was about to head out into the world after he decided to teach. He said, "Open are the doors to the deathless. For those who can hear, let them unleash their faith." And a senior order member, Subhuti, has really drawn out what an extraordinary word that word unleash is. It's as if we're holding back something. We're holding it back on a leash. That's something that's naturally there. And we just need to find ways to let that go. And practicing ritual and devotion and recollecting the Buddha is one way that we can unleash that. And certainly I'm hoping that in tonight's puja, we can unleash that faith, gratitude, and devotion, and celebrate the Buddha's enlightenment as a true spiritual community. Happy Buddha Day.
A bit more of Amarapuspa. So welcome back. Welcome back to the reconfigured shrine room. So really wonderful talk from Amarapuspa. Thank you, Amarapuspa. Really enjoyed that talk actually. So we're joined by Andy, who's here, and also Adam from behind the laptop. He's emerged. So here we are, 4/5 of Dhammapada community, and we're going to do the Threefold Puja now, and the invitation is for you to join in. So I'll just salute the shrine, and then we can get started. call and response. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Namah.
Namo Namah.
So get yourself settled, get yourself what you need to begin the puja. Before we begin, we'll just have a few minutes to settle. So there's no rush here, we've got plenty of time. So maybe just connecting with, firstly your body and your emotional state, seeing what's going on for you internally, your sensations, feelings, the tone of your thoughts. Particularly using the anchor as a breath. Sorry, the breath as an anchor. Using the breath as an anchor. And you might like to bring to mind those people that you have seen on the streams today, the people in the videos. Imaginatively connecting with them, sitting in front of their shrines maybe, scattered all around the UK. You can also bring into that reflection just others as well. We're doing this puja to celebrate the Buddha, not only for ourselves and for our community, but for all other beings, all other people and creatures. Threefold Puja and call and response. We reverence the Buddha.
We reverence the Buddha,
the perfectly enlightened one,
the perfectly enlightened one,
the shower of the way.
the shower of the way.
We reverence the Dharma,
We reverence the Dhamma,
the teaching of the Buddha,
the teaching of the Buddha,
which leads from darkness to light.
which leads from darkness to light.
We reverence the Sangha,
We reverence the Sangha,
the fellowship of the Buddha's disciples,
the fellowship of the Buddha's disciples,
that inspires and guides.
that inspires and guides.
The refuges and precepts. Namo tassa,
Namo tassa,
bhagavato arahato,
Bhagavato arahato,
samma sambuddhassa,
Samma sambuddhassa, Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dujyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panatipata.
Panatipata.
Veremini.
Veremini.
Sikapadam.
Sikapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Adinadana.
Adinadana.
Veremini.
Veremini.
Sikapadam.
Sikapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Kamesu.
Kamesu.
Mechachara.
Mechachara.
Veremini.
Veremini.
Sikapadam.
Sikapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Musavada.
Musavada.
Veremini.
Veremini.
Sikapadam.
Sikapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Suramerya.
Suramerya.
Maja.
Maja.
Amadatana.
Amadatana.
Veremini.
Veremini.
Sikapadam.
Sikapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Sadhu.
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 With deeds of loving kindness.
With deeds of loving kindness.
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With open-handed generosity.
With open-handed generosity.
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness, simplicity and contentment.
With stillness, simplicity and contentment.
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With truthful communication.
With truthful communication.
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech.
With mindfulness clear and radiant.
With mindfulness clear and radiant.
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
Reverence to the three jewels. We reverence the Buddha.
We reverence the Buddha.
And aspire to follow him.
And aspire to follow him.
The Buddha was born as we are born.
The Buddha was born as we are born.
What the Buddha overcame.
What the Buddha overcame,
we too can overcome.
we too can overcome.
What the Buddha attained,
What the Buddha attained,
we too can attain.
we too can attain.
We reverence the Dharma
We reverence the Dharma
and aspire to follow it,
and aspire to follow it,
with body, speech and mind,
with body, speech and mind,
until the end.
until the end.
The truth in all its aspects,
The truth in all its aspects,
the path in all its stages.
the path in all its stages.
We aspire to study, practice, realize.
We aspire to study, practice, realize.
We reverence the Sangha
We reverence the Sangha
and aspire to follow it,
and aspire to follow it.
the fellowship of those who tread the way.
The fellowship of those who tread the way.
As one by one,
As one by one,
we make our own commitment,
we make our own commitment,
an ever widening circle.
an ever widening circle.
The Sangha grows.
The Sangha grows.
I will sing you the praises of the way to the beyond, said Pingya, when he returned to where the Brahmin Bavari lives on the banks of the river Godavari. It was described to us by this man exactly as he saw it, but then there isn't any reason why a man like him should lie, a mammoth of knowledge and completely pure, a man without desire. When a voice has none of the glibness of pride and none of the ingrained stains of ignorance, then its words are full of sweetness and beauty. It is such words that I praise now. They call him Buddha, enlightened, awake, dissolving darkness, with total vision and knowing the world to its ends. He has gone beyond all the states of being and of becoming. He has known our poison drives. He is the total elimination of suffering. This man, Brahmin Bavari, is the man I follow. It is like a bird that leaves the bushes of the scrubland and flies to the fruit trees of the forest. I too have left the bleary half-light of opinions. Like a swan, I have reached a great lake. Up till now, before I heard Gautama's teaching, people had always told me this. This is how it has always been, and this is how it will always be. Only the constant refrain of tradition, a breeding ground for speculation. This prince, this beam of light, Gautama, was the only one who dissolved the darkness. This man Gautama is a universe of wisdom and a world of understanding, a teacher whose Dhamma is the way things are, instant, immediate, and visible all around, eroding desire without harmful side effects, with nothing quite like it anywhere in the world. But Pingya, said Bavari, why then don't you spend all your time, your every moment with this man Gautama, this universe of wisdom, this world of understanding, this teacher whose Dhamma is the way things are, instant, immediate and visible all around, eroding desire without harmful side effects and with nothing else quite like it anywhere in the world. Brahmin Sir, said Pingya, there is no moment for me, however small, that is spent away from Gautama, from this universe of wisdom, this world of understanding, this teacher whose teaching is the way things are, instant, immediate, and visible all around, eroding desire without harmful side effects, with nothing else quite like it anywhere in the world. You see, sir, said Pingya, with constant and careful vigilance, it is possible for me to see him with my mind as clearly as with my eyes, in night as well as day. And since I spend my nights revering him, there is not, to my mind, a single moment spent away from him. I cannot now move away from the teaching of Gautama. The powers of confidence and joy, of intellect and awareness hold me there.
Whichever way this universe of wisdom goes, it draws me with it. Physically, I cannot move like that. My body is decaying, I am old and weak, but the driving power of purposeful thought propels me with it without break. There was a time when, writhing in the mud of the swamps, I could only drift from one stone to the next. But then I saw the Sambuddha, fully awake and free from defilement. Then the Buddha spoke. Pingya, he said, other people have freed themselves by the power of confidence. Vakali, Bhadrabuddha, and Alavi Gautama have all done this. You too should let that strength release you. You too will go to the further shore beyond the draw of death. These words, said Pingya, are the words of a man of wisdom. As I hear them, I become more confident. This man is Sambuddha. He has opened the curtains and woken up. There is nothing barren here. His mind is clear and luminous. Everything accessible to knowledge is known to him, even the ultimate subtleties of Godhood. There are no more questions for the doubtful who come to him. The teacher has answered them all. Yes, I shall go there. I shall go beyond change. I shall go beyond formations. I shall go beyond comparison. There are no more doubts. You may consider this as mind released.
Offerings to the Buddha. Reverencing the Buddha.
Reverencing the Buddha.
We offer flowers.
We offer flowers.
Flowers that today are fresh and sweetly blooming.
Flowers that today are fresh and sweetly blooming.
Flowers that tomorrow are faded and fallen.
Flowers that tomorrow are faded and fallen.
Our bodies too, like flowers, will pass away.
Our bodies too, like flowers, will pass away.
Reverencing the Buddha.
Reverencing the Buddha.
We offer candles.
We offer candles.
To him who is the light, we offer light.
To him who is the light, we offer light.
From his greater lamp, a lesser lamp we light within us.
From his greater lamp, a lesser lamp we light within us.
The lamp of Bodhi.
A lamp of Bodhi.
Shining within our hearts.
Shining within our hearts.
Reverencing the Buddha.
Reverencing the Buddha.
We offer incense.
We offer incense.
Incense whose fragrance pervades the air.
Incense whose fragrance pervades the air.
The fragrance of the perfect life.
The fragrance of the perfect life.
Sweeter than incense.
Sweeter than incense.
Spreads in all directions.
Spreads in all directions.
Throughout the world.
Throughout the world. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni
Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni 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 Shakyamuni